This is a character that has been depicted numerous times on screen and has had an iconic set of looks. How did you create a new, unique take?
You know, hopefully it just came from the story. There was written in the script that Arthur owned a terracotta suit. And so I thought, oh, that's kind of cliche. Maybe we could do something a little more lively. And so it came out of something he owned, something that Todd had written. And I used pieces from his clown suit. You see him as a clown, his side job, and used the waistcoat from the clown suit and put it with a suit that he owned, and just tried to make it interesting. And Todd was in on the colors and how bright he wanted it to end up with. But I brought him those 3 colors that it ended up being. And it grew out of the story and grew out of Arthur's closet, really.
I mean, clowning as an art form is such a rich and surreal history. Did you have any specific clown references for the part?
I think there is a slight reference to Chaplin's silhouette, I think, which was dictated by some of the choreography that Joaquin worked with the choreographer on. And so the proportions of his clown outfit are very Chaplin-esque, and that to go with his movements. And also we use Chaplin in another place in the story as well.
And you've worked with Joaquin a couple of times before on The Master and Inherent Vice. What was it like dressing him as the Joker?
You know, it's always a fresh page when you're working with Joaquin. You know, we're creating a new person. We're creating a new character from the ground up, whether he's Doc Sportello in Inherent Vice and very different Freddie Quell in The Master, and now Arthur Fleck. You know, we start over, and so it's really great to work with him. And who is this person? And try these shoes and try this. And what about the shape? And he was losing weight all along the time we were fitting, so you never really knew from one fitting to the other if the clothes would still fit.
And I'm interested to know, do you try and make an actor feel comfortable? How important is that? And does he want to feel comfortable when you're playing such an interesting character?
I do take that into consideration because I'm really there to facilitate their performance. So we talk about that. Like, is this better? He's got to wear the costume for 12 hours a day or whatever. So there's some level of discomfort that will help the performance, but then there's another level of discomfort that will only create blisters. Do you know what I mean? So you do have to take both things into consideration. Is it helping or is it hurting?
The director talks about how even though the film takes place in this fictional city, Gotham, he very much saw it as New York, 1981. And your hometown is New York, and your last 2 movies have been set there. Can you talk about this version of New York City?
It's a New York that both Todd and I grew up in. Beale Street was set up in Harlem, and it was a beautified version of the 70s. Wonderstruck was a kid's imagination story. This was the New York of Taxi Driver, the rough and tumble, decaying city that also had its own version of beauty.
How much consideration did you put into previous depictions of Gotham in, say, the comic books or the movies? Did you analyze those?
You know, neither Todd nor I are comic book people. We definitely looked it all up, and we had seen the movies, but it wasn't our idea. This is not meant to be the beginning of any kind of a series of movies. This was not meant to react to any other movies. This was a story made unto itself. It's Arthur's Gotham. It's a world that is getting crazier out there. So I think it didn't really relate to those movies.